So, you clicked on a video about the dumbest cartoon characters? Bold choice. Don't worry, you're smarter than Homer Simpson and the other cartoon characters we're about to discuss. Probably. Let's kick this off with the legendary symbol of stupidity himself, Homer Simpson. Now, you might think that Homer's not that dumb. After all, he's held down a job for years, raised 3 kids, and managed to stay alive through all of his moronic decisions. But honestly, Homer is living proof that sometimes sheer dumb luck is enough to survive. Let's start with the obvious. How does a guy work at a nuclear power plant and not know what any of the buttons do? This is the same man who tried to stop a meltdown by closing his eyes and randomly pressing buttons as if he were playing a game of eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
What? What the f?
Bro, you work at a place where one wrong move could blow up an entire town, and your go-to strategy is basically guessing. And let's not even talk about that time he caused a nuclear reactor to melt down by falling asleep on the job. Twice.
Okay, don't panic. Whatever problem this is, I'm sure they know how to handle it. Huh? Ah! It's my problem! We're done!
Homer's stupidity isn't just job-related, though. It spills into every aspect of his life. Remember the time he built a BBQ pit and ended up with a grotesque piece of modern art instead? Yeah, he was so bad at assembling the thing that people thought it was some kind of artistic masterpiece.
That's pretty good.
Only Homer could ruin something as simple as putting bricks together and then somehow turn it into a cultural phenomenon. And can we talk about his eating habits? Homer Simpson has a stomach made of pure steel. This man once ate an entire rotting sandwich over the course of several weeks. He's so dumb that instead of just throwing the sandwich away, he got food poisoning again and again, but still refused to let it go because, in his words, it's still good.
Nice.
No, Homer, it's not good. That sandwich was practically alive by the time you finished it. Homer's also got this weird habit of getting super fixated on the most idiotic ideas, like when he bought a gun and tried to use it for literally everything, from turning off the TV to opening beer cans. A gun. Because yeah, nothing screams responsible adult like using a firearm to change the channel. If there's one thing Homer proves, it's that there's a fine line between confidence and stupidity. And Homer crossed that line so long ago he can't even see it anymore. Next up on our list is Patrick Star, the ocean's answer to Homer Simpson, but somehow even dumber, which is saying something. Patrick is so brainless that it's a wonder he even remembers how to breathe. Let's not forget that this guy once thought that a jar of mayonnaise was a musical instrument. Yeah, you heard that right, an instrument. Just imagine his SpongeBob band audition. Can you play anything, Patrick? Mayonnaise?
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument.
Patrick's stupidity is on full display in almost every episode of SpongeBob SquarePants. One of his brightest moments? Trying to hide from SpongeBob by burying himself in sand and thinking that somehow made him invisible. Patrick, buddy, you're literally still right there. But what's even worse is how confident he is about his ridiculous ideas. Patrick has the audacity to say things like, "I don't get it, I don't even understand it." Well, Patrick, that's because there's nothing to get when your brain cells are working on 1% battery power. Then there's the infamous Wumbo incident. SpongeBob shrinks Squidward by accident, and instead of helping fix the problem, Patrick's contribution is suggesting that SpongeBob should have used Wumbo. Apparently, in Patrick's mind, Wumbo is a verb, a noun, a scientific theory, and a universal solution to all of life's problems. You got it set to M for Minnie when it should be set to W for Wumbo. The scary part is that Patrick says this like it's the most obvious thing in the world, and he's genuinely shocked when SpongeBob doesn't understand. Even when Patrick isn't speaking, his stupidity shines through. Like that one time he tried to open a rock by knocking on it, fully expecting SpongeBob to answer. You live under a rock, Patrick, and that's not just a statement about your home. It's a reflection of your entire thought process. Ah, Cosmo from the Fairly Odd Parents, the fairy who makes every wish turn into a disaster. Now, if you thought being magical would give him some sort of edge in the intelligence department, think again. Cosmo is the kind of character who has all the power in the universe at his disposal, but only uses it to make things worse. Cosmo's stupidity is so potent that it defies the laws of nature. He once wished for a lemonade waterfall, thinking it would be a fun idea, but ended up flooding the entire town. And that's not even an isolated incident. This guy has wreaked havoc on multiple dimensions just by being his dumb self. Like that time he nearly destroyed the fairy world because he confused wishes with dishes. Cosmo, the only character who could start an interdimensional crisis over dirty plates. One of the most painful things to watch is when Cosmo tries to help Timmy, which, let's be honest, only happens in theory. In practice, Cosmo's help often ends with Timmy getting stuck in some bizarre alternate reality or battling monsters that wouldn't even exist if Cosmo had just used his brain for a split second. But nope, thinking isn't in Cosmo's skill set. His usual solution to any problem is more chaos. Also, let's not forget that Cosmo can barely comprehend the concept of science. He once thought the moon was made of cheese and tried to take a bite out of it. But if the moon isn't made of cheese, how come it's always yellow? Classic Cosmo logic, ladies and gentlemen. If Cosmo were in charge of the universe, we'd all be living in a chaotic wasteland where rules don't exist and everything is either on fire or upside down. If you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe. I'm trying to hit $1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Now let's talk about Dora, the explorer who somehow manages to get lost even when she has a talking map. Listen, I get it. Dora's just a kid. But seriously, you've got a backpack filled with all the tools you need, a map that literally tells you where to go, and you still need to ask us where the bridge is. Sis, it's right in front of you. Dora's entire show is one long exercise in teaching children basic problem-solving skills. But half the time, it feels like she's the one who needs help. Like, Dora, the answer is right there. And let's not even talk about her complete and utter lack of awareness. You could have Swiper, the sneakiest fox in the jungle, swiping your stuff left and right. And Dora would still be like, Swiper, no swiping!
Swiper, no swiping! Swiper, no swiping!
How about keeping an eye on your things to begin with, Dora? She's also famous for asking ridiculously obvious questions. Do you see the mountain? Dora, it's the only giant pointy thing in the background. How do you not see it? It's almost as if she's testing our intelligence by pretending to be dumber than she actually is. And her problem-solving method? Always wait for you to tell her what to do. Dora could be 2 steps away from walking off a cliff, and instead of using her brain, she'd stop and ask, should I go forward? Yes, Dora, but maybe stop asking us for permission and just think. Finally, we've reached Billy, the dumbest of them all. If you thought Homer, Patrick, Cosmo, and Dora were bad, you haven't seen anything yet. Billy is in a league of his own. His brain doesn't just take occasional vacations, it's permanently out of the office. This is the guy who once thought that sticking a slice of cheese in his ear would make him smarter. Billy's entire existence is a case study in what happens when someone operates without the slightest hint of common sense. He's like if you took every dumb decision you could possibly make and combined them into one character.
God, please, no!
Billy has made bad decisions that have literally endangered the world. From releasing ancient evils to accidentally summoning giant spiders, Billy doesn't just mess up on a small scale. No, he messes up on a global scale. But what makes Billy truly unique is how blissfully unaware he is of his own stupidity. He's constantly surprised when things go wrong, as if he didn't just cause the apocalypse 5 minutes ago. Remember when he found a giant meteor and decided to keep it as a pet? Yeah, because having a flaming space rock in your living room is a fantastic idea. Billy's brain is like a black hole. It just sucks in all rational thought and spits out absolute nonsense. So there you have it, folks. The dumbest of the dumb. From Homer, whose brain is basically on cruise control, to Billy, who is probably setting fire to something as we speak. If you made it this far, congrats. You're officially smarter than all of them. Now go hit that subscribe button before you pull a Patrick and forget why you're here in the first place.